What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are still having a good day. And look, I know the offseason is almost here for the Seahawks, one way or the other. Either the offseason starts next week or it starts in 3 weeks. So very soon we're gonna have a ton of time to talk about stuff like this. So I understand that our focus right now is mainly on this upcoming Rams game. But in light of recent events, I think now is a pretty good time to have a conversation about one particular offseason decision the team is going to have to make. And I'm talking about the offseason decision with Ken Walker. So let's go through it. Obviously, we're kind of factoring in the Zach Charbonnet injury now with this convo. And quite simply, we're asking, with Zach Charbonnet tearing his ACL and likely missing not only the rest of this season, but a good chunk of next season, are the Seahawks now basically forced into retaining Ken Walker? All right, guys, before we go any further into this video, let's take a minute so I can tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using Sleeper this year for daily fantasy, then you are missing out. Download the app and get ready to have more fun with sports this year. Make all kinds of picks on over-unders. Get on over there. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever your sports fancy is. I've got some picks going for this week, the conference championship games. I got the over on Cooper Kupp, 30.5 receiving yards. I got Ken Walker scoring an anytime touchdown. I got Mevis over on the Rams kicking at least 2 field goals. And I got Drake May with the under on 227 passing yards. So get on over to Sleeper. Use promo code SBN, that is SBN, to get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100 and go have more fun with sports this year. Now, I suspect that most people have already kind of made their bed with how they feel about Ken Walker as a player and have likely already kind of figured out whether or not they want to make him a long-term Seahawk. But I do think that there are going to be some people out there that had their opinion shifted by the Charbonnet injury. I'm going to say it again. He's probably going to miss a lot of 2026, and he might not be effective at all during the entire 2026 season. So, with that in mind, I know this tweet asks, how high are you drafting Ken Walker? That's fantasy football stuff. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is, now that this has happened, should the Seahawks commit themselves to an extension for Ken Walker to keep him in Seattle for the foreseeable future and basically, shaving off a portion of their cap space to keep him around? That's the decision that needs to be made. And by the way, not a coincidence here. Ken Walker recently joined a new sports agent group, Aura Sports Group, which I believe they work with DeMarcus Lawrence as well. So there is a little bit of a relationship between John Schneider and Aura. So that's cool. But there's certainly a reason why Ken Walker sought out new representation, because he knows that the day where he gets a contract, be it from Seattle or somebody else, is imminent. Either he gets extended by Seattle in the next few months or another team will sign him, and it's going to be significant. So, yeah, it makes sense why he would want to make sure he gets the right agent in there. So, where are we with Ken Walker? Now, Spotrac, they do estimates of what contracts might look like for imminent free agents. They do have a market value page for Ken Walker, and right now they estimate his contract extension is 4 years, 33.6 million, which is 8.4 million per year and 14th among all running backs in the NFL. If you take a look at who that contract compares to, you got guys like Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift, you got James Conner, James Cook is a good amount ahead of where Walker would be. So this seems like, on the surface of it, compared to other players at the position, a really nice deal. Ken Walker is only 25 years old. He doesn't have excessive mileage on his body over the first few years of his career. And this market value is being dictated more than anything else by the fact that he is kind of injury prone. He has missed a lot of games in his career. I think that if you had a Ken Walker that had played exactly the way Walker had played in his career, but he had maybe 16 to 17 games a season instead of the many games he has missed in his career, which is what, 2 plus 4 plus 6. So we're talking about 10 missed games in his career. You are probably more in line with James Cook. You are probably getting up to that like 4 years, 44 million. Now, obviously, he is somewhat susceptible to injury, and he is a player that you want to shy away from giving a full workload to. Like this last year, he touched the ball 252 times. He's never touched it more than 255 times in a season. That is probably where you want to keep things with Ken Walker if you want him to stay healthy for a season. So he's not a true bell cow. But other than that, there's not much more you could ask of Ken Walker. I guess he's not a great pass protector, but right now, most running backs in the NFL aren't. That's actually kind of a rare skill. The guy's a good receiver. The guy's a good runner. The guy's very productive behind a shaky offensive line. He's got it all. So you take a look at what this contract would be. You think about the cap hits and the way they would spread out. You compare it to other players again at the position. Like think about what Bijan's going to get when his contract comes up soon here. In fact, Bijan might get extended this offseason. Think about how much more money he's going to get than this. Think about some of the other top running backs in the league when their time comes to get paid. Like I think Kyron Williams, whenever he gets extended, will probably get more than this. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess he already got extended, but if he were to get re-extended now with what we know about him, would probably get a lot more than this. So if this is the actual cost to keep Ken Walker in town, I go from before Charbonnet got hurt, I would have said, I think you probably do it. And then now with the Charbonnet injury, I'm more in the you have to do it. Like he's too young, he's too good, and now he's too important and too valuable to you. So, Ken Walker, if this is the deal, then I think you jump all over it. Now, is it going to be more than this? Because I believe this market value page was calculated some time ago. And since this market page was generated, Ken Walker's been playing some really good football. He was great against the Niners a few weeks ago, great against the Niners a few days ago. He has had a really good close to the season overall. So now what are we talking about? Are we talking about 4 years, 40 million? Is it going to be a $10 million a year deal? And if it is, are you still doing that? I think the answer is probably yes. But what if he has a big game this upcoming week and then he wins Super Bowl MVP? Is it now 11 million or 12 million a year? At what point do you walk away knowing, by the way, the Seahawks do not have a lot of draft picks this offseason to replace running backs? And you might need two if Walker walks because of the Charbonnet situation. So it is tough. One thing I will say, there are a lot of appealing running backs in free agency this upcoming offseason. Ken Walker is not alone. You've got Najee Harris, you've got Travis Etienne, you've got Javonte Williams, you've got Rico Dowdle, you've got Breece Hall, who is very interesting to me. You've got J.K. Dobbins, and you've got some lesser known names as well. You've got some older guys, admittedly. Rashad White is probably going to do very well for himself in free agency. There's going to be a lot of money thrown at running backs this offseason, more than you would typically expect, which might keep the cost of a Ken Walker down because it's a little bit of a buyer's market here. Now, if Walker were to dominate the next two games and win Super Bowl MVP, I don't know if that would undo this other stuff. I don't know if it would be undone by the fact that it's a buyer's market, but still. If we lose Ken Walker, there are other guys we can go get in free agency that will be good. There's plenty of guys here. Even if you want to go bargain bin shopping, Austin Eckler, maybe he has a little bit left. Nick Chubb just turned 30. Maybe he's got a little bit left. Somebody like a Kenneth Gainwell is a pretty decent player. You've got Jerome Ford. He's all right. There are options out there. But at the end of the day, I don't know if any of those guys are replacing Walker, who's coming off the best year of his career. He played all 17 games, 1,300 scrimmage yards, 5.2 yards per touch. I mean, he was very, very special this year. And I don't know if you want to lose that right as it seems like he's really starting to figure it out, because look, we'll see how I feel after this upcoming game and hopefully the Super Bowl. He attacked the line of scrimmage in a way against the 49ers a few days ago in a way that I feel like he typically is inconsistent with. And if I see him attack the line of scrimmage like that against the Rams and hopefully whoever we play in the Super Bowl, it's going to start feeling like, hey, maybe this guy's got it. And maybe he's just playing a little extra hard because of the contract situation, I guess. But at the same time, what are we asking him to do that is so unreasonably hard? We're not asking him to get the ball 400 times a year. We're never going to ask him to do that. Maybe next year he has to get the ball closer to 300 times because of the Charbonnet situation. But I think we all know that if the Seahawks know they can't count on Charbonnet next year, they will go get somebody else that can take a little bit of a load off of Walker. So I'm kind of in a place now where I feel like you've got to keep Walker around. And what does that mean? Does that mean you can't keep Woolen? I think you could keep Woolen if you really wanted to, although I do think that is extending yourself pretty far, but maybe it means you can't keep Kobe Bryant, and I'm okay with that, but Kobe's good. Does it mean that you won't be able to keep Boye Mafe? Well, I'm cool with that because I don't think Mafe's got that much that I'm all that interested in at this point. So what is it going to cost you to keep Walker? It's going to cost you something. Maybe it means you lose Charbonnet in a year because his contract year's next year, but maybe you're okay with that now because you don't even know what Charbonnet is going to be post-injury. So things have changed a little bit, guys, and Walker seems aware of it, and the price could be going up, but it might still be worth it. So what do you guys think? All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More stuff coming soon. Everyone have a good rest of your day.